Yes, good afternoon. It's that favourite time of the day once again. Welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Friday, the 8th of September 2023, the year of BSV. Buy BSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online, the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Here we go. Right, again, we are reporting on the largest court case in financial history. COPA, the Crypto Open Patent Alliance, which represents the cabal versus Bitcoin on the 15th of January 2024, which is all about the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin with those #1 legacy addresses on. So we're just going to address the amount of corruption that is actually in the legal system to outline what this case represents and what it will break, and how important it is that truth prevails, because we are in some serious problems, which I'm just going to outline in this statement. So let's look at this, for example. These are the dates that are really important leading up to it. I went over these yesterday, so I won't touch on those today. But this case has been reported on. So this was Fully Crypto. They reported on this again like 3 months ago. Satoshi Nakamoto, identity ruling, 2024. And again, none of these articles are in favour of Craig. They're going, oh, right, clogging up UK courts, blah, 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 blah. You know, he's failed in other proceedings. I mean, it's completely biased, really. It's ridiculous. But what's really important about this is this fundamental statement. We either have a common money used by the people to create government that works for the people, or government will create currency to control the people. These are the only options available to us. And it's right now that I want to bring your attention to this. A lot of people who are asleep to the current political situations won't really have a clue about the significance of what we're about to look at here. But this is a document, we move down here, I'll show you. This is document FCO 30/1048. And FCO stands for Foreign Commonwealth Office. Now, this document was drafted in 1971, and it was hidden from the public for 30 years. Because this outlines how treason has been committed on the British people, because sovereignty was surrendered. Now, to surrender an atom of sovereignty is absolute treason against the British people and against the constitutional statutes. And again, not even the monarch would be able to agree to something like this due to the constraints on the monarch's oath, which is in the Coronation Oath Act 1688. And if the monarch doesn't uphold her contractual and constitutional duties, then that can be construed as being treasonous. So literally, sovereignty is absolutely key. And this document outlines how sovereignty was surrendered. So it is quite a large document, but I'll just go through the first bit here. So it says, first of all, it outlines here sovereignty. It says sovereignty is a complicated subject which can be debated at length. Well, not really. You either have sovereignty or sovereignty is surrendered. That is literally it. So all this bollocks about, is it complicated? No, it's not complicated. If you surrender sovereignty, you are committing treason. It's as simple as that. So we'll just find a few really important key points here. Which I've been through this. It is, like I said, it's a long. Here we go. Look, sovereignty and the European communities. Blah 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 blah. But check this out. Point 8, where it says here, it will be in British interests after entry that the community should develop towards an effectively harmonised economic, fiscal and monetary system, together with a fairly closely coordinated foreign and defence policy. This would mean, in the very long term, major changes in the way in which British national relations with the rest of the world are managed, and important implications for external sovereignty. And again, you can see they sort of made it hard to read here. It could only be taken place if there were strengthening of institutions of the community with consequential weakening of national institutions, including Parliament. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. And as we go down here, point 4 and 5. So it says, and this is how they're talking about how they're going to commit this treason and get people to accept this surrendering of sovereignty. To ensure effective consultation between British representatives and negotiators on community affairs and the British Parliament, a select committee on community affairs might be considered. And then number 5, to stress the gains through community membership in real international influence, and to contrast this with the highly formal and technical nature of the sovereignty that will be eroded. Honestly, it is blatant treason. It's blatant treason. So yeah, let's just. I'm getting a bit passionate here, but let's go back to where we were on this as to why it's so important. So that document was released 30 years later, and literally, and again, this was reported in the Telegraph on the 24th of March. So it was actually Article 61 of the 1215 Magna Carta that was invoked on the 23rd of March 2001. The moment this document was released and they realised that sovereignty had been surrendered and that treason had been committed. And treason was actually committed on the 1st of January 1973 when Britain joined the EEC. When Parliament, when the ministers of Parliament, when the Prime Minister of this country would committed treachery on the people, and treason was committed. Now this means that every single statute, legislation, act of Parliament that has tried to be enforced or imposed post this date, so after 1st of January 1973, is perpetuating the continued deposition of the monarch, and perpetuating this treason, and is therefore null and void. And literally, so at the moment, there is no lawful. There is no law in this country. There are no courts that have any lawful constitutional rights over anything at the moment. Literally everything is treason, and this is what we're up against. And I'm going to explain this in just a second. So this was the High Court document, and again, what they're doing is they're referring to Mr. And again, Mr. is maritime, and we are on the land. So again, this is the fraud that they're perpetrating on people. So anything that they do, and again, these are all like alliances. There is the law on the land can only apply to a living man or woman, or man and woman. And Crypto Open Patent Alliance, well, who's going to take responsibility for that? And then they've got other corporations here, and again, corporations are corporate entities. So the only thing that this court case is doing is bringing the attention to the people, because any decision that is made, it's not unlawful. It has no lawful backing, because there are no laws in this country right now that have any authority whatsoever. So really, it's the economic power of SirToshi that we are relying on to actually expose this fraud, which is why it's so important. So let me just show you this document here, or this picture. So for those who are unaware of who the Illuminati is, it is an organisation that stands above the Freemasons, and whenever you see celebrities with hands over their eyes, like, it's meant to represent the all-seeing eye, this is their symbol that they go by. So whenever you see something like this, an all-seeing eye, or celebrities, covering their eyes, they are basically advertising, secret signing that they are in the Illuminati, and they agree with their one-world totalitarian government agenda. which they're trying to enforce on everybody. And as you can see here, this is a BTC ATM machine with the Illuminati one eye, all-seeing eye logo on it, which again is just a symbol for totalitarian power and a one world government overseeing absolutely everything, which is kind of scary, really. But we know that they've hijacked BTC through SegWit. They've made it economically worthless and contractually illegitimate. So just absolutely ridiculous, really. And this, like obviously the all-seeing eye being their logo, this, I shit you not, is the latest upgrade to the UK Supreme Court. Now, what do you see here? This is an absolute joke. This is an eyelid with eyelashes around here with the all-seeing eye in the middle. So this is how endemic and how deep the corruption goes. It goes right the way up to the Supreme Court. For those who can't see it clearly, here's a close-up view of it. Look, the Supreme Court, the Illuminati literally run everything. They want a one-world totalitarian government. And let me tell you how big this conspiracy is. So it all stems from this passage in the book of Genesis, 1 Samuel 15, where it says here, I'm going to read it. It says, "Then Samuel said to Saul, 'The Lord sent me to anoint you king over his people, Israel. Now therefore listen to the words of the Lord. This is what the Lord of hosts says. I witnessed what the Amalekites did to the Israelites when they ambushed them on their way to Egypt. Now go and attack the Amalekites and devote to destruction all that belongs to them. Do not spare them, but put to death men and women, children and infants, oxen and sheep, camels and donkeys.'" I mean, so again, this is just so ludicrous it is. They think that this is God. So they think that God is giving somebody instructions to go and annihilate a race of people which he's created himself. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. But this passage is where this whole conspiracy comes from. And I'll tell you what's scary about it is you want to know how old that passage is, where it says here. So they said that this passage is being composed before the 2nd century BC. So literally like 2,000 years before Christ or before the Common Era. So we're now 2023. So they're saying that this conspiracy is over 4,000 years old. This is how endemic the corruption is, and how this sort of like illustrates you how we're in such a serious situation of this corruption, of this conspiracy to create a totalitarian one world government, which we saw with COVID lockdowns and you need to get tested, mandating all these injections and stuff like that. Like it is bad. It is bad. So the corruption that we're up against, which is why I'm saying Craig has got to come literally with undeniable evidence. But just to give you an idea of how corrupt the courts are, a friend of mine went to the High Court the other day, and the judge who was presiding over events just literally was acting criminally, unlawfully. So it was my friend that requested the transcripts of this case to prove that the judge was acting criminally, unlawfully, and whereas transcripts normally come back within 3 weeks, he got the transcripts back within 4 months, and everything that the judge said had been redacted. This is the criminality that we are dealing with, which is why it's so important that Bitcoin win, because, like I said, we either have a common money used by the people to create government that works for the people, or government will create money to control the people. And that's why you see the Illuminati symbol on the US dollar bill, because it's the US dollar bill that backs the value of all the other currencies, and the US dollar bill is backed by nothing. And it's printed by a non-governmental US corporation with private shareholders with no value whatsoever. It is blatant securities fraud, as defined by SEC versus WJ Howie Code 1946. It's absolutely outrageous. So anyway, we'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the show. Shout out to Women of BSV for just being absolutely brilliant. Shout out to the Bitcoin SV channel for being fantastic. Shout out to CoinGeek for just being crap because no one knows who they are. And we'll leave it there. Remember, the largest court case in financial history, the cabal, which is COPA versus Bitcoin, on the 15th of January 2024. Stay tuned and we will bring you more.